Ozai stood in his room and stared out of the window, looking beyond the horizon. It was a calm and cold night, but something didn't feel right. There was an unexplained tension building up at the back of his head. He ignored the thought and he went to sleep.
And then something woke him up. It was a knock on the door. He went down a floor. It was his neighbor, nothing more.
Ozai, he shouted, his hands gesturing wildly. You won't believe what I just saw, he sputtered, struggling for words. He pointed outside and ran back to where he came from. And then the sound started. It was like nothing he had ever heard before.
The deep hum came from all directions and distances. From the street in the front, from his house in the back, and from the walls of his doorframe. He ran to his neighbor's door and knocked the door and shouted his name. Lian! Lian! Ozai doesn't know if Lian could hear him. The sound wasn't stopping. I need to find someone, Ozai thought. Why isn't Rian looking back for me?
Somebody help! He shouted, but as he looked back he realized there was no one on the streets. Not even a single soul. As he tried to walk away from that sound, he realized that it was neither increasing nor decreasing. It was almost as if it was following him. And in his heart he knew he had to go to that one place.
And so, while screaming in agony from this screeching cacophony, Ozai started to sprint towards his mother's old home. It was the only place where he had ever truly felt safe. And now, her memory was the only thing that could rescue him from this mayhem.
Ozai raced to his childhood bedroom as the deafening cries followed him through the familiar hallways. He caught a glimpse of himself in a worn-out mirror just before grabbing a bottle of orange paint from his dresser. Quickly, he stared back up, and immediately he knew exactly what he had to do with the paint.
He quickly smeared the paint all over the walls, remembering every instruction, every detail his mother told him to follow, for she knew they would save his life someday. To top it off, Ozai drew a large peculiar symbol on the ceiling, one he remembered vividly.
At that very moment, the sound stopped, and Ozai froze. It was immediately he cast his mind back to what Rian was screaming at in the first place. Maybe that was it. Maybe that was what started everything. Maybe that was what led him to his mother's old house. And then it hit him.
The painting hit him. Why on earth was a painting hitting him? In a flash, the entire wall sprung to life. A huge army of orange figures jumped out of the wall and into the room.
Ozai was terrified. Panicking, he backed away frantically, muttering to himself. What in heaven's name is this madness? He cried out in exasperation, when all of a sudden, the room began spinning. Or was he spinning? Was he even standing up anymore? Ozai couldn't tell left from right, up from down. He had no idea what was going on. And then, with a blinding light, the symbol he drew on the ceiling began to glow.
The bright light from the symbol had blinded Ozai for a few seconds. After his eyes adjusted back to normal, he found himself sitting on a grass field. The house had vanished. When he turned back, he saw Rian standing, pointing towards something.
Rian was pointing towards a door. Just a door in the middle of the grass field. Ozai tried to ask him what they were actually doing there, but all he did was point to that particular door. Was he a gatekeeper of some sorts? Perhaps a gatekeeper of a dream?
Ozai made his way over to Rian, who grabbed him, looked him in the eye and said, Ozai, this door. It's our way out of here. Come with me. I know you hate it here. Take my hand. We'll be all right. Your mother's on the other side. She's waiting for you. Oh, Ozai, don't let this madness hold you back. Let go. We can be free if you trust me.
Police sirens sounded faintly in the distance, and Rian and Ozai looked at each other and they knew. They knew they couldn't be together here. Rian and Ozai embraced and walked hand in hand towards the door. Let's go quickly, said Ozai. And they sprinted towards the door, but it seemed to be getting further and further away. They weren't moving. Orange figures, faceless, shapeless, rose up from the grass and pushed them towards the door, towards their future.
Hi, thank you so much for reaching to the end. I'm pretty sure that there's no one in the world that could have actually predicted how this video turned out actually to be, which is so great, which is what makes this entire series of videos that I'm doing so great. This is just the second video in the series that I'm doing, so please do stay tuned. Subscribe. Yes, there's more stuff like this coming. Do check out the other videos on this channel too. So like, share, subscribe, do all that great stuff. Also, I have a podcast. It's linked down below. Just give it a listen. I'm pretty sure there'll be at least one episode that you like. Again, thank you so much for watching. Do tell me what you think down below. And yes, I'll see you in the next video.